Becca Kufrin famously had her heart broken when Ari Luang Jr. dumped her on camera after initially proposing at the end of his season of The Bachelor. The Minneapolis-based publicist was once again in floods of tears on Monday, but this time as the one breaking hearts as the Bachelorette. Becca, 28, broke down after dumping corporate banker Jason Tartick, 29, rather than spend the night with him in the fantasy suite as one of the final three. She instead only took Blake Horstmann and then Garrett Irigoyen for a night in the fantasy suite. "I literally just did to him what Ari did to me," Becca sobbed, calling Jason one of the best men I know and admitting, he did not see that coming, and he was so confused. Becca revealed she had an epiphany moment during their date in stunning Chiang Mai, Thailand, when they made light chat about how they would decorate their house together, and she instantly knew she could not see a future with him. "I couldn't do it. I couldn't go through with an overnight with him if I know it's not him at the end," she said. Jason then shocked her a few days later by returning to see her, tearfully begging her to reconsider. "I felt like I was Ari and that I completely blindsided you," she said of the moment she did kind of lose it after he left. But sticking to her decision, she told him, "What we had was something so special. You are one of the best guys I've ever met and I don't want you to doubt that." He left her with a book of memories from their time together, with her wiping away tears as she looked through it, saying, "The world needs more Jasons. I really hope he finds somebody. And she's going to have to treat him like a king. He deserves only the best." Jason was trailing Garrett and Blake going into the fantasy suite dates, however, with Becca having said before the dates, "I am in love with two men," and falling in love with a third. When she finally decided to send him home, she admitted, "Yes, I could see a future with Jason, but I can see I'm more with Garrett and Blake. I was falling for Jason, but I'm in love with two other men. It's not fair to keep him around if I don't see us getting there in the end." As she spent nights with the final two men, she said she still needed a moment of clarity to decide, saying, "I'm so happy with both Blake and Garrett. I love both of them." However, she refrained from expressing her love to them, telling host Chris Harrison, "I want to save those three words for just one guy. I know what it felt like to hear it be said to me and I don't want to put them through that." The duo only realized what had happened when Jason failed to show for the final rose ceremony, with Becca telling them, "Saying goodbye to him wasn't easy. There were a lot of tears, but going through that I feel a lot more confident standing in front of both of you today. And I feel so strongly for the both of you that I'm ready to have both of you guys meet my family," she said, as they prepared for the final rose ceremony set for the Maldives. Despite their feelings, it was core sales rep Blake who clearly struggled the most with her split affection. "These last 2 weeks, it's the first time I've started to think that you possibly feel the way about another guy that you do me," he told her in the evening part of their date. "It's hit me hard. It's getting to the point where you clearly, obviously have really strong connections with other guys, and so I can't really ignore that anymore." Their date had earlier taken them to a Buddhist temple, where they got advice from a monk on honesty, compromise, patience and giving and were also forbidden from touching or kissing. But they made up for it later in the date, with Blake further gaining Becca's affection as he insisted he was ready for commitment, telling her, "I'm the kind of man who looks for a reason to stay, not for a reason to go. I love you a lot and I can see that future." She said his words mean everything and gives me the chills and melts my heart because that's all I want in a partner and in a man. "Blake makes me feel safe. He makes me feel secure. He makes me feel things I've never felt in any other relationship," she said. As they were shown walking into their fantasy suite, getting onto the bed as they kissed, Becca said, "I'm just ready. I'm ready to spend the night with Blake. I'm ready to wake up next to him and see what the future holds." As they were shown cuddling in bed the next morning, Becca insisted, "This morning waking up with Blake, I feel even more in love with him." But Blake once again seemed to struggle with his feelings, getting serious as he told Becca, "I'm in love with you, and although I didn't need last night to prove that, I don't want this to be the last time waking up next to you." Earlier, Becca had insisted Blake was the most solid and most consistent of her suitors, saying, "To the point that I did feel it was too good to be true sometimes and I was so afraid that something was going to come to F it up." "Nothing has, and nothing will," Blake insisted, with her desperately looking for wooden items to knock on wood. Garrett, however, seemed to grow in confidence with Becca, and after admitting he almost had cold feet at the start of the show, finally told her, "I truly do love you and you make me very happy. I hope you're the last woman I ever have to say that to." She told him his confession means everything, saying later to camera, "Garrett told me that he's in love with me, and it just feels right. He doesn't know it yet but I'm already there with him." Rather than question her, Garrett grew in confidence, saying to camera, "I just told Becca that I love her, and by the way that she kissed me I can tell that she feels the same way." Their fantasy suite was a treehouse in the jungle with a thunderstorm breaking out, with Becca saying after they were shown cuddling in bed in the morning, "Waking up today after spending the night with Garrett, I just think we took leaps in the relationship. When I look at Garrett I see my heart's equal, and I see somebody who will make a great father, a great loving husband, and he makes me feel like I could really rely on him no matter what. There's something so special about him." Garrett was even more gushing, saying, "Last night was the greatest date of my entire life and greatest day of my life. And I'm in love. I haven't been on this much of a high and this happy in probably my entire life. If one night with Becca can make me feel the way I do, and this is the way that life's supposed to go, God, I have a great life ahead of me, that's for sure," said Garrett, who previously married Kayla Cunningham in 2015 and filed for divorce 6 months later. "This is it. Becca's the one for me. There is no plan B. There's no safety net. I love her so much, and all I want is her, every moment of the day, every day I choose her." At the point, "It's more than a rose, it's just about Becca and I changing each other's worlds 100%, he added. At the end of the episode, Becca still insisted, "I'm in love with both Blake and with Garrett. I can't see one over the other at this point, and it's really scary." A teaser for her final decision saw her breaking down in tears and saying, "I don't think anything can prepare you for this. I feel like such a monster.